Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited to bring you what I think will be a very interesting video on REN. Okay, I know there are a lot of lines here, but don't you worry. I'm going to simplify this, break it down, explain what I think is going to happen with REN, kind of what I see happening both short-term and long-term, and explain why you should care what REN is. So, if you like the sound of that, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hit that bell icon because we'll be doing time-sensitive, critical technical analysis and cryptocurrency news all throughout this bull run. So let's delve into this. Guys, before I simplify these lines, because believe me, this will all make sense in the short term, I think it'll be helpful to try, I think all these lines will be helpful to try and decipher what may happen here in the short term. I drew all these descending triangles and resistance lines because I think that they are relevant to near-term price action. But before we delve into that, I just want to explain very briefly what REN is and why you should care. REN is, in my opinion, kind of a hidden gem. Yes, people have been talking about it in the cryptocurrency space and big YouTubers, but it hasn't received the hype that a lot of other coins have. It doesn't really have the community that a lot of other coins have. But I think REN is one of those coins that actually is extremely interesting and has a good chance of performing very well long term. I, in fact, hold a good amount of REN. It's one of my biggest bag holds when it comes to altcoins. So to explain what it is, REN essentially branches liquidities across blockchains. So if you have a bunch of Bitcoin, you want to move it in Chainlink or you want to move it in some other blockchain, REN is the middleman that allows, it's funny because in their marketing, they describe themselves as not being the middleman, but they kind of are. Essentially, REN just allows liquidity to move across blockchains. That's really all you need to understand. And the reason why the REN token itself, the actual coin itself exists and why it's relevant is because if you have enough REN tokens, that allows you to start what's called a dark node. A dark node is what processes transactions across chain, and you get a fee based off that. So that's how the REN coin itself actually works, the tokenomics behind it. You know, if you get enough, you get a dark node, you earn fees, you make money. So that's what REN does, and that's why the REN coin itself is relevant. Now, let's delve into the technical analysis because I think this is a very interesting coin. You know, as more money floods into the cryptocurrency space, as these big institutional investors flood into Bitcoin, I think REN is what will allow liquidity to move across chains, and REN could become a big player in the space if indeed crypto is to mature as an asset class and a bunch more money is indeed to flow into the space, which I think in time it will. So let's delve into this technical analysis and kind of clear up these lines. So basically, guys, these lines are basically slanted resistance that I think is relevant to the current price action. Okay, the red lines acting as resistance, these green lines acting as support. Now, to clear up a bit of this mess here, let me start by removing these green lines. You can kind of see how price is reacting to them. You know, this green line is kind of was acting as resistance, now as support. But let's remove them just to, make things simpler here, clear things up. And so just to describe all these descending triangles, all these resistance lines, we're basically in a bunch of descending triangles here. And REN does have a bunch of slanted resistance, okay? This red line here being the most relevant. Kind of the thicker the red line, the stronger the resistance, in my opinion. It's kind of visible, but bottom line is that the red lines are all resistance here. So a few interesting things to note right off the bat, okay? 30 cents, I believe, is critical support if REN is to remain bullish. I think we're most likely to move sideways within kind of all these resistance levels within this descending triangle, and 30 cents is critical support. If 30 cents starts to fall, I think we're likely to tackle some of these previous price levels, 25, 24, kind of the mid 24 cent range. But if we are to continue to move bullishly, trend bullishly, 30 cents is critical support for us to hold. And if we can continue to hold 30 cents, then I think we have a good chance of tackling some of these resistance levels. And ultimately, what we need to look out for is the 40 cents. If we can start to close above 40 cents, 41, 42 cents, I think we're flying, guys. I think, flying is, it's not very exact, not very technical, but we can clearly see how in the past, the low 40s acts as resistance. If we can get above 42 cents here, I think we're tackling all-time highs at 59, 60 cents. Okay, and with the whole market exploding bullishly, there is a chance that in the near future we may try and tackle these resistance levels. Something interesting to note is we've pumped a bunch and corrected, and doing a fib retracement of this movement we can see that we have price has moved back into the golden pocket ratio, that being the 618. So we may potentially be done retracing. Another thing to note, keep in mind here, if we are to maintain bullish, is the 100 and 200 EMA on the 4-hour and the 6-hour. If we are to remain trending up bullishly, we need to hold those as support. So guys, ultimately speaking, I think we're likely to just move within this range, hopefully holding support above those 2 critical EMAs if we are to remain bullish and try and test these resistance levels. Okay, looking at the 4-hour indicators, volume is really falling right now, so I think we're likely to fall back down, retest, like the 33 cent, the 20 EMA here in the 4-hour. MACD not telling me a whole lot, kind of moving down, kind of moving upwards. Stochastic, very indeterminate. RSI, very indeterminate. They're very much in a neutral zone. Stochastic looking like it wants to cross over, go for another leg down, which makes sense if you look at the MACD histogram taken down and the volume taken down. I think a move downward, like in the very short term, like 33 cents, makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Let's look at here at the 6-hour. Because the 200 and the 100 EMAs again are critical support. Price is reacting off it. Again, the 30 cents really, because we see how we wick down we wick down when we find support at the 30 cents, right? But then we go back up. So guys, something to understand about wicks is the way I like to think about wicks is whatever way the wick goes, these skinny lines being the wicks, I like to think of it as price doesn't like going that way, right? So we try to pump up and we had a long wick to the upside here. It's like, okay, price doesn't want to go that way. So we go back down, right? Up here, right? Long wick to the upside. That's telling me, okay, price doesn't want to go up there quite yet. So we look at that. Super long wick to the upside and then this massive move downward, right? And here we had a super long wick to the downside, then move upward, right? So think of wicks as the longer the wick, the more price doesn't want to go in that direction. That's just kind of how I like to think about it, okay? So, guys, we could talk about indicators, and ultimately, I don't think it's very helpful, because ultimately, I think we're just likely to move within this range for a while. If we stay above the 30 cent and the 100, 200 EMA on the 4 and 6 hour, I think we're going to remain bullish. I think these red lines are going to act as resistance. So, I think like the 36 cent is probably going to be like our next resistant range. So until we break above or below these ranges I've pointed out, these red lines or this green line here, I think we're just likely to move sideways within this direction. So until we see a breakout, I mean, I know these are large range, guys, but it just really is what it is. We're kind of range bound. We're right up against major support and resistance throughout these regions here. Now, if we start to break out from some of these red lines, like if we start to close above this red line here, I think then we're likely to keep moving upwards, right? But if we close below this 30 cent region here, I think we're likely to trend downward. So that's honestly what I'm looking out for here, guys. Okay, like I said, long term, I think REN is a super interesting coin, because of it bridging liquidity, a bunch of money, a flood of money moving into Bitcoin. Eventually, that money is going to want to go somewhere. REN might help in bridging that liquidity. And yeah, and so kind of like the major levels we need to look out for is the 43 cent. If we can start tackling the low 40 cent range and start holding that as support, I think it's a matter of time before we test 60 cents and then go into price discovery. So guys, if anything interesting happens with these coins, we will definitely be talking about it in our Discord group. Link to join that will be down in the description below. If you want to trade these markets, I invite you to check out bybit. It's my favorite exchange to use. Link for that down in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the bell icon to be notified of new uploads. That's it for now, y'all. Take care.